Hey guys, the Curious Owl here, and it is the end of September. Fall is now upon us, and it is time for spoopiness and pumpkins and Halloween candy and just amazing times. I love the fall. I love it more than the summer, honestly. I'm kind of torn between summer and fall because summer is the time where I get to relax, especially since my birthday is during the summer, and it's just a great way for me to not have to worry about anything that's going kind of outside. Like, I don't have to worry about school. I don't have to worry about anything other than just doing me and doing stuff that I love. So it's always a good time, but I do love the fall because I do love when it gets a little bit chillier and I get to wear more long sleeve things. I get to wear my flannel. I just love it. I love pumpkin spice lattes. I love apple cider. It's just a wonderful time. However, this month was kind of weird for Michigan because the last about week and a half we had a really strange heat wave where we were having days with 90 degrees and no air, like there were no clouds. It was the least amount of fall feelings that was going on. So that really sucked because for most of us, the buildings in like most school buildings, they don't have very good air conditioning, so we were all sweltering in the heat, and it was so weird. This never happens in Michigan, but then again, Michigan will have a lot of rain during the winter as opposed to snow, so there's more slush, and sometimes we will have no snow in the middle of winter for like 3 weeks. Like, that's actually happened before. We had no snow in the winter for several weeks for some strange reason. In May, we will have snow. It's the weirdest thing. Michigan has the most temperamental weather I've ever seen, but it was still so strange to all of us to feel that we were in 90-degree weather for a week and a half straight towards the fall. It was just the weirdest thing. But anyway, it's got cooled off now. It should be cooling off now for good for the rest of the season, so hopefully it doesn't get too hot anymore. Although I do like having to be a little warmer, still I don't want it to be full on like winter time because I hate the winter so much. I hate Michigan winters so much. It's ridiculous how awful it gets up here, but especially where I live right now on campus, like it gets really bad as opposed to my hometown. But anyway, despite all of that, I have read 2 books over this month. So the first book that I read was a copy of Trapped in Silver by Emily Soden that I was able to receive an e-copy of from Off Tomes Publishing. So thank you to Off Tomes Publishing for sending me an e-copy of Trapped in Silver. I loved it a lot, actually. I was very surprised at how much I really enjoyed it. Trapped in Silver follows our main character, Ava, who basically has had to live her entire life with a secret identity of her twin brother, Cedar. But Cedar's not even really real. Cedar is just a person that she dresses up as in order to protect her female identity. Because in the society she lives in, which is a weird kind of 1800s style-esque kind of time, it's almost impossible for a woman to survive in the society because many times she's taken and she's captured by some monster or some kind of evil person and they're never heard from again. And there's no clear reason as to why. So in order to protect herself, Ava turns into her twin brother Cedar, and nobody is the wiser of it. Then when she meets Ethan, things really start to go awry and things really start to change in her life. She is now hunted by these strange cannibalistic werewolf almost kind of creatures, and she is hurt and has to be taken to a far-off land that she has never heard of before and comes to realize that she is a part of a mystical world that nobody knows about in the human world. I really did enjoy this book for a lot of reasons. It was really well written. It was very clear, concise language. I loved the complexity that was of Ava, not just because of her secret identity as her brother, but all the kind of layering that Emily Soden had given to her with the fact of her past and how her father, how his decisions had affected her, and the fact that her mother was gone for a majority of her life. She had died when she was 10 years old, and how that really affected her and everything, and how her brother Rowan had been a huge part of her life, and how he had really changed a lot of the pacing in terms of the novel once she finds out more about him. The novel itself was just so well done, and I just don't know, there was something amazing about it. I didn't care for the fact that there was a lot of times where several characters almost felt that they had romantic relationships with Ava, even though they weren't necessarily actually true romantic relationships. It just really, the way that she would talk to them and the way that they would interact almost seemed like it should have been a romantic interaction. It was just very hard to distinguish what was and what wasn't until you got to one specific character and her interactions with him, where you realize that is truly who she's supposed to be romantically involved with. So if you want to know my full thoughts on Trapped in Silver by Emily Soden. Go check out the review for that. I did rank it, I think, 4.5 out of 5 stars, I want to say, because it was really, really good. I really did enjoy it. I just didn't care for the weird romantic things that were going on within the story, but I had time to think on it after that review had gone up, and I kind of changed my mind a little bit, but not enough to really change my rating. Then the second book and the first book that I read during the 24-hour readathon for September was The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. If you guys have not seen this review I had for this book, oh my god, I loved this book so much. I can't even express to you guys how much I loved this book. The characters were hilarious. A lot of the supporting characters were so well developed and really showed a lot about their personality and how their personality meshes with the main character Andy's, and just the relationships with them were all so freaking good. It was the most realistic contemporary YA novel I think I have ever read, and that is saying something, because a lot of contemporary YAs try to err on the side of realism. This was by far the most realistic one I have ever seen, and I've read a lot of contemporary YA over the course of my life. The Unexpected Everything follows the main character Andy, who is the daughter of a politician who was caught up in a political scandal, and because of that it has made her lose her internship with Johns Hopkins Hospital, where she has wanted to go to study to become a doctor. So in order to make sure she doesn't have a gap in her resume for that summer, she decides to take up dog walking, and with that comes with an amazing adventure and amazing romantic story with one character that is just the sweetest person I've ever read, and oh my god, I can't get enough of it. It was so freaking good. I laughed, I cried, I had feels, I was shipping nonstop. Oh my god, I loved this book so much. Like, this is easily one book that I will constantly be referring back to when talking to people about good contemporary YAs, because it was so good. Andy's thoughts and things were so well laid out, and I identified with her so much because she's a type A personality person, which I am as well, and when things for type A's do not go their way like they did for Andy, they get really anxious, they get really scared, and they start to spiral, which I have not seen an author talk about the spiraling aspect for anxiety that type A personalities tend to have when it comes to things they plan out. The idea of spiraling, where you are constantly thinking of the same thing and how, because if this doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen, and because of that, then you don't get to do this and you don't get to do this. That is exactly my thought process anytime I don't get to be able to do something that I really want to do, or something doesn't happen the way I think it's going to happen. And so to see them actually be put on paper and see somebody else be able to understand that as a fictional character, it's amazing, because it makes me realize that I'm not the only one that has felt that, and not the only one that has experienced that exact anxiety, kind of anxiety attack that Andy and I have. It is so awesome to see that I identify with this character so much in that respect. If you can't tell already by how much I rave about this book just in this video, you should go check out the review, because it was absolutely amazing, and I had way more things to say on there than I do now. I will say though that I did give The Unexpected Everything 5 out of 5 stars, so unfortunately that was the only book I got to be able to read and finish during the September 24-hour readathon challenge I had for myself against Becca. However, I do know, because Becca has told me, I did win the challenge, because she did not exactly get the time to read as much as she thought, and she didn't really get to just read at all in general, so she didn't get anywhere close to where I was. I think she said she didn't even break 100 pages, which that's okay, you know, things happen. It's not like a competition where we were winning prizes or anything. It was just more so just a fun little thing for her and I to do, because I haven't really seen her very much since she graduated, and I wasn't really looking for bragging rights or anything. I just really wanted to do something fun for the first time I do a 24-hour readathon, and I'm glad that she was able to do it with me. I'm glad she did it, because it kind of made me excited to do it more, and I hope that we do more in the future. But I know it was really hard for her, and I know her schedule is really hard right now, so I'm not going to ask her to do it very often unless she is able to, because I know how stressed she is already as it is. But I did start another novel during the 24-hour readathon that I unfortunately did not finish, because for one, I crashed for 3 hours. I actually fell asleep during the day and slept for 3 hours, and so I didn't have enough time to read, and then I had so many things when I got home that day to do that I didn't realize needed to be done, and so I didn't have nearly as much time to read as I had thought. And the book itself is kind of hard to digest a little bit, and it's The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So this was the second book I was supposed to read during the 24-hour readathon, and even when I started to read it, it's been very hard for me to get through it. Like, I'm actually over almost 3/4 of the way through the book, and I don't know, I'm still not sure how I feel about it even almost 3/4 of the way through, because it's really slow paced. There's a lot of things that I'm very confused on, and I just don't know how exactly I feel. So I would not expect a very highly praised review from me for it, but don't count that right now because I still have to finish it. I should be finishing it though in a few days, and we'll kind of see how that goes from there. Also, before I forget, I did listen to another audiobook this month. I listened to two audiobooks this month. I listened to Feel Good 101 by Emma Blackery, and I listened to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on audiobook, and oh my god, let me just say, feels trip. Let me just say. Feel Good 101 was written by Emma Blackery as a way to kind of be a different kind of a self-help book. It's not exactly a self-help book, but it's more of a collection of essays talking about different aspects of her life that she went through growing up in order to kind of convey a certain kind of feeling that you are not alone for her readers. Many things that she has experienced, she realizes many people have also experienced, and so she wrote this book in order to show those people who have gone through the same exact thing that they can come out the other side and they can end up becoming better, because she did. There's a lot of talk about family, about love, relationships, a lot of talk about her music, because a lot of the things she learned was when she was trying to make her music career happen. A lot of things about how her YouTube channel, how that had spurned a lot of different life lessons she had learned. And it was just a really awesome book because it was also narrated by her, so every single joke that was written in the book I could hear so well, and I just love Emma Blackery's voice in general. She's got a beautiful speaking and singing voice, and it was just so amazing to hear some of the things that she had to say in terms of different topics. But if you guys want to hear that review, you guys can go down below and check that out. And then the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which I will be doing a review for soon, should be going up probably within the next couple of days. But this one, it was such a feels trip, let me just say. I don't remember much of the first book because it's been a long time since I've actually physically read the Harry Potter series. I think when I read Deathly Hallows, I was probably like 11 or 12, so it's been almost a decade since I've even picked up the books, and I didn't even actually finish Deathly Hallows because I just wasn't interested in it at the time. But I know that if I was to look back on it now, I definitely would be able to read it. But like I said, I will leave a review for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm going to try to reread the whole Harry Potter series within the next few months. I don't know how far I'm going to get before the end of the year, but regardless if I don't finish it by the end of the year, I will still reread everything because I do miss how I felt when I read the books, and there were so many things that I need to talk about in terms of questions I have when it comes to this book. But anyway, that is my September wrap up for you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. Let me know what books you read during the month of September, if you read any, and what was your favorite one. I think my favorite book that I actually read, ooh, this is a really tough one because it's a very big toss-up between Feel Good 101 and The Unexpected Everything. But I think I'm gonna go with The Unexpected Everything because I had such a warm and fuzzy feeling after finishing this monstrosity of a book. Like, it was over 500 pages, and there was like another 50 pages of bonus content that I didn't get to read yet, but I should read soon. I just got such a fuzzy feeling from it, and although I loved both Trapped in Silver and Feel Good 101 a lot, I definitely felt a much happier feeling coming from this one because it had such a great ending. I loved how things kind of wrapped up at the end, and it just made me feel so much, made me feel all the feels, and I was super happy with it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below. Oops. Hit my Coke bottle. Hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.